Hi everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris. For those of you who have listened to Literary Disco, which is one of the older book podcasts that's been around, it's one of Emily's favorites, and I've listened to it some too. They used to do this really cool thing called
Bookshelf Roulette.
Bookshelf Roulette. And so since they're not really putting out episodes anymore, we've kind of been missing them. So we thought we would just kind of take the reins and do some of this ourselves. So Emily, do you want to explain it to everyone?
Yeah, so they used to have game episodes and they would do several different games, but Bookshelf Roulette was one of my favorites. And basically what it is each of the hosts, there were three hosts on that podcast, they would pick three numbers and then they would scurry off to their bookshelves to find the book. And so what the numbers represent, and we used a random number generator to pick our numbers. The first number is, picture your bookshelf like a square. So it'd be choosing between the numbers 1 and 4, 1 being the top left corner of your bookcase, the second number being the top right, third bottom right, fourth bottom left. So you go to your bookshelf and you choose the starting point based on the first number. The second number is then counting up or down the number of shelves. And then the third number is in from the left. And that's when you get the book.
In from the left. Okay. So I'm as you're talking, I'm sitting here looking at my bookshelves.
Yes.
Wondering.
This is our first time doing it.
And so we'll see. I mean, do you know what bookshelf you're going to?
I think I'm going to go to the one right here in my living room.
Okay.
Because we chose a number that's 3. The second number 3 is the number of shelves.
All right.
And I have one bookshelf that's taller and one bookshelf that's shorter. My one here is shorter, so I can do it with the 3. So how about you?
4, 3, 2. Well, on either side of me, I like the one in the back. I have 2 like that on either side. And then I have some shorter ones too, like yours, which is like 3 shelves. But the one right here to my right is the newest bookshelf where I've just kind of dumped a lot of things on it. So that might be fun to go with that one.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So what we're going to do, 4, 3, 2. So 4 would mean that you're starting in your bottom left corner.
Okay. Left.
Then you go 3 up, right?
Okay.
3 up, yeah. 3 shelves up, and then 2 books in from that shelf from the left.
From the left. Okay.
Yeah.
The hardest part for me is left and right. So
yes,
see how this goes.
I know. So picture standing in front of your bookshelf. Immediately you're going to go to your bottom left because it's like a square, right? Yeah. Starting, you go clockwise from the top left corner. So then it's a square. So bottom left corner is what we're going to start with because we got the number 4. 3 shelves up, 2 books in from the left.
That's great. And part of my issue is that I have like math anxiety. So anytime numbers are mentioned, like my brain just kind of shuts off for a minute. So being able to look at my shelf as you described that is very helpful. I know that sounds strange, but
it's not strange. And we're gonna be having fun with numbers here. This is about fun because the point, everyone's like, well, then what? The point is we get this book and we show it to you. And it may be a book that we've read. It may be a book we haven't read. It may be a book someone gifted us that we know nothing about. So we're going to find out. So do you want us to video the process? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's do that. Let's turn our handy little cameras on. All right. I'm recording you. All right. Oh, yes. Here we go. There's Buddy. Buddy needs a treat. Want a treat? 4, 3 here. Second book in. Thomas Merton. Very cool. All right, I'm back.
All right, here we go.
4, 3, 2.
Oh, oops. All right. 4, 3, 2.
Yes. Here we go. Here's Buddy. Buddy needs a treat.
Okay, so 4, bottom left, up 3 would be the top on this bookcase, and the second book in. Oh, this is a cool one. It's got a beautiful cover. Okay, I'm going to walk back and make everyone dizzy.
I'm back. I'm shutting my video off.
Okay, me too.
All right. So what did you end up with? You want to go first?
It's interesting. This is one I talked about on the podcast. Can you see it?
Yeah, Skullwater. I can't see the author's
Oh,
name
there we
really,
go.
though. There you
Is
go.
that better?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
light, it's pretty sunny out today. It's been a week of rain and then suddenly we got this beautiful sunny day, which is great. Yeah, so Skullwater by Heinz and Sue Fenkel. I talked about this on an episode of the podcast, and maybe even in our Friday Reads video. I had every intention of starting it. We got a copy of this from the publisher, which I'm trying to see what the publisher's name is. Spiegel and Grau.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful cover. And I'm trying to remember what it's about.
I love
It
that
takes
cover.
place, yeah, in South Korea. It says a remarkably intergenerational coming of age novel set in South Korea about friendship, belonging, and displacement. Growing up outside a US military base in South Korea in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, In-soo, the son of a Korean mother and a German father enlisted in the US Army, spends his days with his half and half friends skipping school, and half is in quotes, selling scavenged Western goods on the black market, watching Hollywood movies, and testing the boundaries between childhood and adulthood. When he hears a legend that water collected in a human skull will cure any sickness, he vows to find some in order to heal his ailing big uncle, a geomancer who has been exiled by the family to a mountain cave to die. I remember hearing really good things about this, and I think when we posted our Friday Reads video and put it on Twitter, the book maven said, "Oh, I read that and really loved it," which was high praise. So
I just
yeah.
noticed the arrow too. I didn't notice that's an arrow on first glance.
Yeah, into the ground.
Oh.
Yeah, and that looks like the cave that they're referring to, where his big uncle must be. So yeah, I'd love to read this book. This is going to be a hard bookshelf roulette because it's
I know it is.
To just sit down and read, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So my book is The Seven-Story Mountain by Thomas Merton. And I read this many moons ago, like in 1991, probably, because I was in college when I read it. And this specific copy is from our listener, Robin G. in Sacramento. She included a really lovely card, bookish card.
Oh, nice.
Because she saw me posting about my old beat up copy that is kind of like brittle. You know how that happens with books from certain time periods. And so I've been kind of hankering a reread and was thinking like, oh, I might have to get a new edition because that one's just going to crack. And Robin happened to have two. So she sent me one. And so Thomas Merton was a monk. He has since passed away. His death was actually a little sketch. He was in East Asia somewhere at a conference, and he was electrocuted to death by a fan that was in his bathroom.
Oh my.
Yes. And there's, he was the advocate for peace and for everyone, to drop the Cold War and other types of inhumane treatment of human beings that could cause, mass chaos in the world. And so he may have been murdered because it seemed like a really strange accident for somebody. Anyway, this book is one of his first, and it's about being a young man who decides to become a priest and a monk. And it's in the 50s, I believe, or the late 40s. It was first published from the intro here 50 years ago on October 4th, 1948. So much earlier than the 50s. And I'd gone to a Jesuit college, and I really kind of was fascinated with monks and nuns and the spiritual life in general. And I adored this book so much. It's a memoir, as I mentioned, his deciding to become a spiritual, well, he was a spiritual seeker, right? So, and this is the path he chose. And he's also a writer. he's a very prolific writer, very well-known writer. And at one point, the head of his monastery kind of put him on a no writing time, which was kind of challenging for him because he also became a celebrity, and people still go down to the monastery where he was and visit it because of him. Yeah, so like I said, it's been a while. And can I tell one more story about this book? When I was reading it, it was during summer break, and I took a train from Chicago to Seattle, Tacoma area to visit family. And so I'm on the Amtrak by myself, just I didn't get a sleeper or anything because, college student, I got what I could get, right? And I would read a little bit and fall asleep, read a little bit, fall asleep. And I felt like every time I woke up, there was a different person sitting next to me, And one time when I woke up, and this book is, sitting on the tray, I woke up and this woman was like kind of like looking at me, and I was like, "Hi," And it turns out she was a former nun who was so curious about why I was reading this book. And she was actually on her way to the wedding of one of her former nun sisters who was marrying a former priest. So we had a great conversation about the book. And I found that a lot of people who are not Catholic or not particularly religious in the Christian faith have read this one. So, yeah, wow. He was born in France in 1915. And I think people would like this book if they are spiritual seekers or if they're writers, because he talks about becoming a writer too, as far as I remember.
It's amazing how much one book on our shelf has so much story, from who gave it to you, to your experience reading it before, to your wanting to read it now and where you live now. Fascinating.
Yeah, totally, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
So what we would love is any of you booktubers out there, if you want to play along and play some bookshelf roulette, we'd love to see you do that. And also anyone who's watching this video, 432, head to your bookcase. Let us know what book you find.
Yeah. And it could be any case, any bookcase.
Yeah.
And we're going to use the hashtag bookshelf roulette.
Yes.
So tag us if you post a picture on Instagram or here. If you do a video, that'd be fun to track people's experience with this. And thanks to Literary Disco for coming up with the idea.
That's right. And you can go back and listen to past episodes of theirs. I'm not sure if they are no longer podcasting or if they're taking a break. But they have, a lot of old podcasts you can certainly listen to. We will put brief instructions down below to, help you remember how to look at your bookcase with those numbers. And if you have any ideas about how we can choose numbers in the future, let us know too. We're thinking about, a book Cougars bag with numbers in it, or using random number generator again. But we're open to ideas. Yeah, totally. All right, everybody. Happy reading. Happy reading.